Last night, the Atlanta Hawks took on the Boston Celtics in a major blowout, 132 to 106. And this is getting out of hand. Yes, it was Peachtree night, but nothing was peachy about the loss that we took to the Boston Celtics. The barrage of three-pointers that they rained down on the Atlanta Hawks, how much defense, unfortunately, the Hawks did not play, and how the Atlanta Hawks can get out of this situation. This is a tough time, unfortunately, due to the fact that Trae Young just got sent to the Washington Wizards. We now have our guys, Corey Kispert and C.J. McCollum, in place playing with the Atlanta Hawks. It seems as if on the West Coast road trip, the Hawks were doing somewhat fine, but unfortunately, things did not continue on that route. I think they won, I think it was 4 out of 5 or something like that, or 3 out of 5. Or that matter of fact, let me go ahead and check and see really quickly, because again, these Atlanta Hawks right now currently 5-5 in the last 10 games. They're 20-24, placing them in the 10th position in the Western Conference. Things aren't looking as peachy as I believe they should have, especially after making such a blockbuster trade. Again, the trade deadline is vastly approaching, February 5th. And the Hawks are still major players within the trade market right now. They can still pursue Anthony Davis, which they said that they were planning on doing. And this is just not how I planned for this to go this season, to be completely honest. Again, early on, I mean, around draft day. We can go back to the draft when they brought in Asa Newell, or prior to the draft when they got in Kristaps Porzingis and Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard. Things were seeming to look up because they were planning to make a run with Trae Young. But since he's been sent to the Washington Wizards, we have made this blockbuster trade, and the Hawks have announced their plans of what they plan on doing prior to the trade deadline. It just doesn't seem as if things are panning out the way us Hawks fans are looking. Right now, we're in the 10th position. If the season were to end today, we will be in the Atlanta Hawks Invitational, a.k.a. the play-in round. So just sit tight. What we're going to do is I'm going to go through last night's game versus the Celtics. What happened? How do we get here? And what they could possibly do going into tomorrow's matchup versus the Milwaukee Bucks on MLK Day. I don't feel as though the Hawks should lose on MLK Day. I mean, they don't need to lose on MLK Day, okay? This is the game versus the Milwaukee Bucks. That is going to be a game where the 10th and the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference are going to take on each other. And the Hawks can possibly see if they can create some separation between out of the playoffs and in the play-in tournament. But that's besides the point. Let me welcome everybody. What's going on? My name is Walter Pollard, and this is Atlanta Hawks Digest. Now, before we get into all of the news today, I want to let you guys know that this video is brought to you by Koshi. Now, when you download Koshi using the link below in the description and you enter in the code DIGESTNBA, you can get $20 when you trade your first $100. All right. Now, Koshi is the largest prediction market in the United States. On their platform, you can trade yes or no on real life events. You can do it from sports to elections to politics to music, really anything that you can think of. And whether you're in California, Texas, New York, or here in Georgia, okay, you can trade across the United States because Koshi is live in all 50 states, all right? Now, for most of us sports fans here, we can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, player performances, whether they can make 10 free throws or 10 rebounds, okay? It's all on a regulated market where you can trade or cash in anytime. Now, how I want to point out, of course, the college football thing is going on right now. I think tomorrow, tomorrow, Monday, is the college football championship versus Indiana versus Miami. Indiana has a crazy gap between themselves and Miami with a 75% chance of winning the national championship. Again, you guys can trade on these numbers right here. Get in where you can fit in. And we do more than just trading on game outcomes, as well as player predictions and all of that stuff. We can even trade on what the announcers are going to be saying in the college football national championship. We can say whether they're going to say no good or whether they're going to say wild or whatnot. Listen, we do this, okay? And this is a good chance for you guys to get in where you fit in. It's genuinely a smarter way to use your sports news knowledge, and you can close on predictions anytime. All right, now you just need to download Koshi. All right, and you can, of course, hit the link in the description below and enter in the code DIGESTNBA, and you'll get $20 when you trade your first $100. All right, and I also want to thank Koshi for sponsoring this promotion. Now, let me go ahead and jump right into last night's game because, again, let me get through it. Yeah. This was more than embarrassing. Again, last night, the Atlanta Hawks seemed to have things under control within the first quarter, but things just went awry in the second quarter because the Boston Celtics went on a 52-point barrage on the Atlanta Hawks, really just making the gap extremely difficult, wide, and tough on the Atlanta Hawks. I think at the half, it was about a 70 something like 51. You know what I mean? And it was just out of control. I know that one point that I've noticed is that teams can shoot on the Atlanta Hawks. If you are able to hit your threes, if you are able to shoot on the Atlanta Hawks, you got a good chance of winning that game. And that is exactly what the Boston Celtics did last night. Sam Hauser, he led all a three-point barrage on the Atlanta Hawks, and again just blew away the Atlanta Hawks in the second quarter. Going to the box score really quickly, just pointing out some of the stats here. Onyeka Okongwu, 31. Well, the starters first off was Onyeka, Jalen Johnson, C.J. McCollum, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Vit Krejci. Of course, not Jalen Johnson, but Dyson Daniels, of course, he was out of the game. He was not playing tonight or last night, if I may. Dyson Daniels did not play. Of course, Kristaps Porzingis, he did not play as well. So we did have a lot of players that we did not see. But, of course, the starters, Vit, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, C.J. McCollum, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu. We did get some sizable minutes from Luke Kennard and Corey Kispert, as well as Mo Gay with 23, 19, and 23 minutes. Keaton Wallace also had 13 minutes. And again, this was definitely an effort by a few of the players, but at a certain point, Coach Snyder just said, let me go ahead and just put all the reserves in because Asa Newell got in for 9 minutes. Ray J. Dennis, he got in for about 5 minutes. Caleb Houston even got in for about 5 minutes. Have you heard that name in a long time? No, I know you haven't. But yeah, just going through again the numbers here, it just wasn't a good shooting night for the Atlanta Hawks. Just simple and plain. The Atlanta Hawks, they shot 33% from the three-point line, which was terrible, as well as 37% from the field, only shooting 38 of 102. So they only made 38 shots out of 102 shots. The high man for last night was Onyeka Okongwu, 21 points, 18 for 4 from the field, 3 for 6 from the three-point line. So give it up to Onyeka Okongwu. Listen, I'm always going to give it up to the high man, okay? But it was really a low light for everybody. Jalen Johnson, only 12 points in 35 minutes. C.J. McCollum. Again, we played C.J. when the Atlanta Hawks were playing the Washington Wizards during the in-season tournament. And C.J. McCollum went off for a career high against the Atlanta Hawks, hitting a lot of his three-pointers and a lot of his shots from the field. But unfortunately, last night, he only went, 11 points, 4 for 14 from the field, 0 for 5 from the three-point line. It was abysmal for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I'm not here to just beat up on the Hawks. I'm not here to beat up on the Hawks. I'm not here to kick a man while they're down. But what I do want to point out is that the Hawks do have to get their defense under control, because obviously you see here that the Boston Celtics were capable of basically getting what they wanted. They were 82% from the free throw line, 42% from the 3-point line, 51% from the field. As far they had 55 rebounds to the Hawks 47. And again, they were able to get to where they wanted to. They were able to do what they wanted to versus the Atlanta Hawks. And again, when you are able to jump ahead of your opponents in the second quarter, as large of a margin that they had, I mean, it basically gave them full control of last night's game, and that's just where things were for the Atlanta Hawks. But defense does have to really, really take charge right now. I do want to point out that C.J. McCollum, again, and when I say our, of course, Hawks Digest, we do talk in between games, outside of games, in between, videos that you guys see here. But when we talk, we were saying that, C.J. McCollum, we forget that he is also a defensive liability. And if he's not shooting well, obviously things don't pan out for the Atlanta Hawks in a positive way. And so, again, I wonder what the Atlanta Hawks front office plan on doing going into February 5th trade deadline. I want to know what they plan on doing to help this situation, help stop the bleeding, and hopefully we can get in a situation where, again, it looks like the play-in tournament for the Atlanta Hawks, but dadgummit, at least fight for positioning there so that you won't find yourself in a one and done. If you're in the 10th position, if you don't win that one game to get to the next, you're out of there. You're going home. So this is a very tough situation for the Atlanta Hawks. Again, C.J. McCollum, he is a defensive liability, especially when he's not hitting his three-pointers or hitting his shots. We need to see what things can happen in order for these Atlanta Hawks to get better. Again, it was a tough night last night versus the Boston Celtics, if you were able to see it. Of course, things can get better tomorrow night versus the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 17-24. They have a dumpster fire when it comes to their team and their culture right now. I mean, you can even see when Giannis Antetokounmpo booed his own fan base because they were booing him. So things are looking bad in Milwaukee. Let's not give them life. Okay, the Atlanta Hawks are playing at home on Monday on MLK Day. Last year, the Hawks did not get an opportunity to play on MLK Day. This year, this is their opportunity again to get back on the MLK Day bandwagon, if you will, or because normally the Hawks play on MLK Day. Atlanta is where MLK is from. So this is very important. But again, I can talk till I'm blue in the face. The Hawks definitely need to make some changes prior to February 5th in order to get this thing turned around. My name is Walter Pollard. This is Atlanta Hawks Digest. And of course, I'm signing out. Y'all take it easy. Peace.